Oftentimes Christians insist that Hitler was an atheist and an evolutionist in a poor attempt to refute both ideas. It's a tactic much like not picking the fat kid when playing dodgeball in an attempt to weaken the enemy team. This, however, is real life, and we don't get to choose who's on our team, only what team we're on. That statement isn't entirely accurate, because belief isn't a choice, but that's a topic for another video. Since Hitler is supposed to be an atheist and an evolutionist, his writings should support this. While he has said a number of things about evolution, most of them were about cultural and political evolution, not biological evolution. His own words bear out his creationist beliefs. In Mein Kampf, Volume 2, Chapter 2, he states, "It is a sin against the will of the eternal Creator if his most gifted beings by the hundreds and hundreds of thousands are allowed to degenerate in the present proletarian morass, while Hottentots and Zulu Kafirs are trained for intellectual positions." So he clearly states that those who are racially superior shouldn't be part of the proletariat, and those who are racially inferior shouldn't be part of intellectual professions. Now, of course, I need to add that I don't believe in such a thing as racial inferiority, but it's clear that Hitler did, and that he felt that those who are racially inferior shouldn't be allowed in intellectual professions or important offices. He also states that this is possible may not be denied in a world where hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people voluntarily submit to celibacy, obligated and bound by nothing except the injunction of the Church. Should the same renunciation not be possible if this injunction is replaced by the admonition finally to put an end to the constant and contiguous original sin of racial poisoning, and to give the Almighty Creator beings such as He Himself created? What he's asking here is that why is it inherently wrong for us to engage in what's considered to be fornication by the Church, when the intent is of purifying the race and returning us to the perfection that we once had when God created us? This is very clearly a creationist mind. Hitler's belief was very clearly that God created everything, and that He created the first beings racially pure, but that sin had made the supposed lesser races. His acceptance of cultural, political evolution has no bearing on his creationist ideas, and his acceptance of microevolution is no different than what most modern Christians accept anyway. After all, the evidence of biological change is irrefutable. The debate isn't whether species change over time, but whether those changes accumulate into new species of creatures, or, as creationists state, kinds. What does all of this have to do with anything? Nothing. Assuming, for a moment, that God is real, Hitler's acceptance of the fact doesn't change the fact. By the same token, the acceptance of atheism and evolution by Mao, Stalin, and many others has no bearing on whether or not evolution is true, or whether there is a God. Just because of the fact that we don't like many of the ideas of some of our teammates doesn't change the fact of what team they're on. Trying to denounce atheism and prove that God must be real, or that it's a bad idea to be atheist, or anything like that, by pointing to the atrocities of atheists is no different than the atheist trying to point out that historical atrocities were instituted by the Church. Hitler's misdeeds have no bearing on atheism, just the same as the misdeeds of the Church during the Inquisition has no bearing on whether or not Christianity is true. The entire argument, either way, is a side issue, and in no way can support or deny the existence of God based solely on the actions of individuals.